Hi there, so today we're going to be looking at Macbeth, obviously our central protagonist in William Shakespeare's Macbeth. So these are all the things that our examiner is looking for. This is going to be colour coded throughout this video so you can see how the different points I'm making are going to be hitting the different things in the examiner's mark scheme. Right, so this is a little bit of a tricky one because the question is not going to be how does Shakespeare present Macbeth. It's going to give you a lens, it's going to give you something the examiner wants you to focus on. So I've got my title here, how does Shakespeare present the character of Macbeth as a what? Now that could be a reluctant villain, that could be a victim, we don't know. So you're going to have to be a little bit savvy in your exam and adapt your analysis to suit the key lens the examiner wants you to have. However, the key messages, the key things that Shakespeare wants us to know about Macbeth is he wants to show us the corrupting power of ambition. He wants to show us how love and loyalty can corrupt our integrity and what makes us a decent person. But he also shows how fear and paranoia can destroy us and who we truly are. So the 4 points I simply have to make about Macbeth, and this is in chronological order throughout the course of the play. First of all, at the start, he's a highly respected, dignified, patriotic warrior when he is fighting Norwegians on behalf of King Duncan in his country, and the quote I'm going to use for this is "Brave Macbeth, for he deserves that name." Then we see how his weakness is his masculinity, and this is key from when Lady Macbeth says, "My hands are of your colour, but I shame to wear a heart so white," when he returns from killing Duncan and he's got the daggers in his hands and he's covered in blood. We then see how he is a reluctant tyrant. He's driven to poor choices through his fear and his paranoia, but he is not one of these stereotypical traditional villains where he's bloodthirsty and desperate to kill for his own personal gain, his own personal satisfaction. He's never comfortable in his role as a tyrant and as a villain, and that comes back to hurt him at the end. And the quote I've got here is approached there like the rugged Russian bear when he is looking at the ghost of Banquo. Finally, at the end, he returns back to the honourable soldier and all is lost. So at his heart, he is a man of integrity and decency, and he is not comfortable in this new role that he has been given through a combination of his ambition, the supernatural, and his wife. And the quote I've got for that is bear-like. So my first paragraph of my essay is going to be on this one. Brave Macbeth, for he deserves that name. Now this shows that people respect him. His use of violence here is a source of admiration for the people around him, and his role in the battlefield has given him acclaim and has given him respect. It's quite key that it's the captain that says him as that. The captain's obviously going to be respected in the army. He's going to be a trustee of the king. So for him to recognise that Macbeth is brave and say he deserves it shows the regard in which he has held him. This also shows how he conforms to Jacobean expectations of masculinity. He is violent, yes, because he's just won a war, but he's also dignified and respected, and that's clear through when King Duncan refers to him as a valiant cousin. People see more to him than just his violence. The word choice here, the verb deserves, implies that he's earned this respect over time. You don't just deserve something by doing it as a one-off, it's something that you do time and time again, showing that he's gained this respect over a long period. But there's also a deep irony to his bravery. For he's brave here, he's brave when it comes to being masculine and being in a war and being in the battle, in the public eye, if you like. However, when it comes to being at home and he's with his wife, when it comes to a question of principles and integrity, he's not brave and he can't stand up to her. Then my second paragraph is going to be on this quote here. My hands are of your colour, but I shame to wear a heart so white, which Lady Macbeth says to Macbeth when he returns back with the daggers after killing Duncan. So here we see how his wife is able to manipulate him in order to allow him to achieve his ambition. Now this is key because he depends on her to be the man that they believe he could be. So this is key from the line where he says, dearest partner of greatness. It's very easy to start bashing how she's manipulative and cruel and mean and is the big nasty Lady Macbeth being horrible to Macbeth, but that is just simply not the case. She is doing it because she feels that's what she's required to do as an act of love to support her husband. Now this juxtaposes with Jacobean expectations of love. As a man in a relationship, he should be the one in control. He should be the one who's telling his wife what to do. He should be the one who is comfortable with violence and killing people. But we see this is completely the other way around here. The adjective here, white, has connotations of purity. So this shows how Lady Macbeth sees his purity as a weakness, whilst others have praised and promoted him for his decency. But she mocks him and laughs at him that he can return back from killing someone and feel bad about it. Now, as I touched on briefly, this is an act of love. She's destroying his respect, his dignity and his character in making him shifting him away from this valiant soldier who is respected by his king, but she's doing this to be able to support him to meet his own ambition, to be the man that she believes he can be. Then I go on to my third paragraph, and I pick this one here: approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, which is what he says to the ghost of Banquo in the Ghost of Banquo scene. Now this shows that he can't cope with the consequences of his actions. He's not comfortable in his villainous, tyrannical role that he's been cast in as a result of the supernatural and his wife and his ambition. Now, Jacobeans consider the supernatural as the ultimate evil, so here we see its control over Macbeth that is taking him over because he can't fathom that he is seeing a ghost here. It's not like in the previous earlier scene when he knew he was hallucinating a dagger, he knew it wasn't really a dagger there. Here he can't decipher the difference between reality and what is the supernatural and this ghost in front of him. So now we see how Macbeth is a victim of the supernatural, he's just a pawn in their desire for chaos. Now the reason why I go for this quote is because of the rich language analysis here. We've got this simile like the rugged Russian bear. So to take great paver in masculinity to face a wild bear, he resorts to these traditional expectations of masculinity rather than look upon his betrayal. He wants to conform to the masculine stereotypes rather than have the mental conflict, the mental damage that's inside him. Bear is a wild and dangerous animal, which reflects the beast Macbeth has become, and it's also key he chooses the word Russian. Russia in Elizabethan times would have been distant and unreachable, reflecting how far Macbeth is from any peace and acceptance of his choices. He feels alienated and alone as a result of the choices he's made. Finally, paragraph 4, by the time Macbeth is finished, he returns back to a bear-like state in his battle against the English army and Macduff, who come to invade him. So when all is lost, he returns back to that soldier that was respected and admired, which reflects his desire to return back to a time of safety and simplicity, a time when people adored him and valued him for who he was. He is not comfortable with the world that he has created as a result of his choices. Now this shows that a true Jacobean man will never lose his sense of honour and respect, and he'll cling to this till his dying day. But I'd also look at the simile again. The bear-like, I've deliberately chosen this quote because it's got the same bear symbol as the previous quote, so it's easy to remember for a quote, and it's also easy for your analysis. Now bears at the stake were used as entertainment and pleasure, reflecting his acceptance the fall of his tyrannical rule will be seen as pleasurable. But bears are also violent, fearless and aggressive, and these are the traits of his strength and not being a king, not ruling across a country. Now where is ironic and sad is that he had these skills all along, but he compromised them for his ambition, his pride and his paranoia. Overall, Shakespeare is presenting a fallen hero, a man who had great ambition, great desire to be better than what he was, but in sacrificing all of the good elements to get there, he's made himself into a tyrant and into a villain and someone we can no longer respect.